Someone has to save us all from World War III. I nominate the college students. Yeah. I was having a conversation with an old classmate from high school because I forgot to make myself not searchable on Facebook. And he was like, Sammy, what do you think about these college protesters? I said, I think they're doing the right thing. They're standing up against genocide. They're standing up against war. Sure, there might be an occasional straggler who's not related to the movement. And just like usual, the media will hyper-focus on them. But the overwhelming, vast majority of these students, they are using their First Amendment right to protest for a good cause. And I find that quite refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air. He's like, well, it's illegal. I'm like, then it's a line of cocaine. The most potent comes from Colombia. He's like, well, they're trespassing. I'm like, dude, if I pay $60K in tuition, I can sit in whatever bush I want. Do you understand me? If they are trespassing, then give them their money back. Like, what did you think was going to happen? For years, you told these kids they had no future job. You told them they were useless, that they were addicted to social media, that they were going to end up being homeless. Well, now guess what? Living in tents in front of Harvard. That's what you get. You get what you wish for, okay? And this guy's like, well, they're just a bunch of woke kids using hate speech. I'm like, which one is it, all right? You can't be anti-woke and anti-free speech. That's like saying, I'm a morning person who hates breakfast. Like, no, that's your thing. Don't. He's like, well, they're anti-Semitic. I'm like, dude, these protests are mostly being organized by Arab and Jewish students. That's the most Semitic thing you've ever seen in your existence. Arabs are Semitic too. Did you know that? Didn't go to college? Got it. Okay. Have you ever seen a Passover Seder with keffiyehs? Nah, bro. This is pro-Semitism. And he's like, yeah, well, they're un-American and they're terrorists. I was like, do you know why they're protesting? They're calling for their campuses to divest from Israel. He's like, what's a divest? I'm like, that might be the problem. But you just asked me, what is a divest? To divest is a form of boycott. Last I checked, boycotting, the most American shit you could do. It's actually how this country was founded. If the founding fathers had tents, they would be out there at the college campuses right now, fully supporting. Maybe 3/5 supporting some of them, but majority supporting. Yes, and they're not terrorists. They're not blowing themselves up with vests filled with explosives, which would be another form of divest. This is America, and these institutions, whether public or private, do have the right to support Israel. But then why are they going to be mad when other people are trying to settle on their land? Are you against settling or are you for it, colleges? Make up your mind. But, of course, Biden had a solution for all this. Biden was like, we need to calm these protests down. I'm going to ban TikTok. Like, wow, you just sparked the whole revolution. Good job, Joe. And then the colleges are like, all right, guys, if you're not going to behave, fine. All your classes will be on Zoom. And they're like, yeah, dude, we won! Yeah, they say the revolution will not be televised, but it will be on Zoom, apparently.
Little Gazas are disgusting cesspools of anti-Semitic hate, full of pro-Hamas sympathizers, fanatics, and freaks.
Hell no, to the no, 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 hell to the no.
College students are out there protesting. The government and media are talking so much smack about the college protesters. Calling the encampments Little Gazas.
Little Gazas.
Which is like a great restaurant name, for sure. That's, I'm definitely going to open up a Little Gaza. People are straight up calling them Hamas. It's like, bro, did you know in 1968, Columbia University students took one of their deans hostage? That's a Hamas right there, right? These kids are doing light work, bro. And they're saying things like, oh, they're making students unsafe. Like, yeah, from the police that you called on them. You're worried about child safety and then you call out the police to beat the shit out of your students? Yeah, your priorities are really in order. Just recently, the UCLA encampment was attacked. A mob of counter-protesters came in the middle of the night. They launched firecrackers and they just started pulling down the barrier of the encampment. They started pulling kids out and literally assaulting them. To me, it was like, once this video circulates, it's gonna be very, very clear. These kids are very peaceful and they're literally getting attacked by outsiders. But there's people actually defending those aggressors. saying, no, they're defending themselves because these students are occupying the campus. And I'm like, so you're saying that they have the right to resist? Congratulations, you are Hamas. Welcome to Little Gaza. Come for the joke, stay for the flatbread. I will support. Oh, hey, come to the student campus, please. I love that. It's so sweet. And it shows, can you raise it one more time? Everybody look at this. It shows not only the urgency of me needing to come there, but also the urgency of these kids needing to, like, more grammar classes, you know? Because it just shows, man, they need us. They need us right now. Amazing, thank you so much. The free speech censorship on Palestine is ridiculous, bro. You can't even say from the river to the sea. What if you're giving directions to someone on a boat? You see a guy stranded out on a lake in a little boat. You're like, hey man, what you're gonna want to do is you want to go from the river to the whoa. Don't say that. It's like, what? I was just gonna say from the river to the sea, his boat will be free. That's all I was gonna say. They're like, no, you're saying that once he gets out to the ocean, he's gonna sink out all the other boats. I'm like, this isn't Battleship, okay? I merely want the liberation of that particular boat. That's why I said it that way, and I didn't say L5, you know what I mean? You know who else does from the river to the sea? A baby salmon. Aww. Yeah. Every salmon is hatched upstream and has to swim all the way down to the sea. From the river to the sea is the tale of the liberation of a baby salmon. You eventually eat. You want to ban that? And so listen, I sympathize with people who are sensitive to phrases and words. I get it. Everybody is sensitive to phrases and words for their own reason. But that doesn't change our freedom of speech. I don't specifically want to hurt anybody's feelings, but because I know that my intentions when I say this term are for the liberation of Palestine and nothing else, I feel okay saying it, okay? And if you listen to me, when I tell you that those are my intentions and I'm not lying to you, then you have the choice at that point to either respect and believe me or cry me a river to the sea, okay? So good. He's so good. I like to be empathetic with people, but like trying to ban words like intifada. It's like, listen, I understand the history of the intifada. There was a lot of violence. I get that. I get why you might be triggered by the term intifada, but it's literally a word in Arabic. You can't just ban a random word in Arabic. Intifada is a word in Arabic that means uprising, or it can mean to just shake it off. It's basically a Taylor Swift song. Intifa, da! That should be Taylor Swift's new tour. The era of Intifada. You have the right to be offended or to be scared and be hurt by free speech. It doesn't change the nature that it is still free speech. And you would think that we would understand that in this country, where we have the First Amendment, and it allows us to do things like make up songs like America, America, the land of freedom of speech, where as long as your intentions are good, you should be able to say whatever the fuck on. From the river to the mother sea. I actually wanted to be 100% sure, so I looked up the definition of the word terrorism. I was like, it's time, I'm gonna look it up. I want to find out what it is they've been saying I do this whole time, you know? And I looked up the definition of terrorism. It'll blow your mind. The definition of terrorism is using violence to achieve a political goal. Oh, America's never done that. I laughed out loud when I saw that definition. If the definition of terrorism is using violence to achieve a political goal, America is the biggest terrorist country of all time. Of all time. If that offends you, change the definition or change history, okay? Because that is what we specialize in. That is what we specialize in. And I noticed that when I say this in the United States, people kind of, they get a little taken back. You know, they're like, ah, I'm not a terrorist. Don't call me a terrorist. Stop calling me a terrorist. I am not a terrorist. And it's like, relax, I'm not calling you a terrorist. I'm not saying that you're a terrorist, okay? I'm simply saying that you're a terrorist sympathizer, okay? That's all I'm saying. You're a terror simp, as the kids would say. You're out there simping for the tea. Yeah. Listen, it doesn't have to conflict you internally. You can be aware that if you live in the United States, you're part of a global terror regime. You can be aware of that. It doesn't mean you can't love your country and not want to make it better. In fact, I argue that you cannot make your country better unless you actually know about the dirty shit we do overseas. I argue that you don't actually love your country if you can't call us a terrorist, okay? Because you gotta know who you love. You gotta love who you know. And this doesn't have to like change your internal value structure. Like if you still want to use the word terrorist, you can, but you got to use it consistently, right? Like if you want to call a one-person suicide bomber, or as I call them, a one-man band, if you want to call them a terrorist, that's fine, okay? But then you also have to call the drones dropping bombs on entire nations terrorism as well. Because it's all f***ing terrifying to the people who receive it. I mean, at least give the small guy credit for acting locally. I thought we support small businesses. You gotta admit, they're more creative, that's for sure. That's why it's called terrorists. It's terror artists. It's a ist. It's a ist. It's like a barista, terrorista. You know what I mean? How do you want your terrorism, grande, right? Like, it's a f***ed up word to use. When we use the word terrorist, it's very hypocritical for us to use in the West if you know anything about our history. But the word terrorist is also racist. It's also racist. And if you don't believe me, it's very quick little proof. Okay? Just close your eyes for one moment. Okay? I'm not gonna blow myself up. That's not the point of it. You're looking at me like, no. That's not like, and boom, and now you get it. And that's not what I was trying to do. Okay, if you're not scared, if you can just close your eyes for a moment, okay? All right, now I'm gonna say the word terrorist. What do you see? You're racist, exactly. So that was simple. Most of us saw the same guy, okay? And don't worry, it's not your fault. You know, the media has trained you to see it that way. And so I invite you from now on, when you hear the word terrorist, I want you to look at who they're talking about. Whether it's in the media or casually in conversation, look at who people are talking about. It's almost always going to be the same type of person. It's going to be brown skin, Middle Eastern, Muslim person, or Luigi for some reason. It's going to be, they threw Luigi in there. They're just like, whatever, they all use olive oil or whatever. So. And yes, occasionally people do call Trump supporters terrorists, but they call them domestic terrorists. You know what I mean? Like they're the domesticated ones. And we're like the wild ones out here, you know? We're like the feral terrorists, you know? It's like, we're the terrorists, you know? It's messed up. It's messed up. But it's definitively a racist word. Case in point, in this country we have mass shootings. That's like our national sport right now, okay? We're killing it. No, we are now at the point where we have shooters of all races, so we do believe in DEI shooting, okay? Celebrate the victories if you wish, but yes, so occasionally you will have a Muslim shooter, and when you do, what happens in the media? They drop that T word so fast, right? They're like, this was an act of terror, or was he part of ISIS, or has he been radicalized? Like, don't bring math into this, okay? Leave math out of this, okay? But then when you have a white shooter, which we do occasionally, let's be honest, you just don't hear that T word. You just don't hear that T word. What do you hear? He was a lone wolf, you know? Or he was a man on a mission. Yeah, a man had a manifesto. You know, or mental health is important. Let's talk about mental health awareness. And it's like, yay, good job. Good job for finally realizing that mental health is important. Congratulations, America. I'm glad you finally realized that it actually matters that we have a healthy mind. Congratulations. Good job. No, seriously, good job. Mental health is very important. It is. Mental health is extremely important, and I'm glad that we are finally embracing it. But why is mental health only coming up when we're talking about white villains? Okay? Why can we not equally apply the concept of mental health to our fellow brown villains, who also could use the therapy? Okay? And I know, some of you think I'm just calling racist for no reason. I assure you, I would not just call racist if I didn't have a punchline, okay? This is a real point I'm making. I'll ask you this. Have you ever in your entire life heard this? You know, Osama bin Laden, did he have like depression or something? Maybe it was like seasonal affective disorder. That's why he was so sad. He wasn't getting enough sun. You know what? September is now Mental Health Awareness Month. Let's do that. Let's never forget. September is now Mental Health Awareness Month. Yeah, somebody should have checked in on Saddam more often, you know? Maybe if Saddam had more friends, it would have like lifted his mood a little bit, you know? Like, call your friends today before they become the next Saddam, you know? No, you don't hear anything remotely close to that, okay? Meanwhile, there's like 3,000 documentaries like, was Hitler okay? Like, shut the up, dude! Shut the up! Stop making documentaries about Hitler's mind, okay? At least make a few about Osama, you know? But it's a racist word. And you can ask anybody who looks like me, or anybody in this category, we don't even feel comfortable getting angry in public because people see that terrorist trope in us. We don't have the same freedom to public bursts of outrage like the rest of y'all. Yeah. I'd like to take this moment to give a special shout out to white women, okay? Yeah, I see what you do. No shade, it's admirable. I see you out there showing your anger in public, you know what I mean? Asking for upper management when you can. You're out there working. I'm jealous. I believe that is the level that we should all aspire to and that we could all be one day as a society. I believe that. I do. And that's my goal. I want to be a Middle Eastern man Karen. I do. Yeah. I want to be a Kareem, okay? Yeah. I believe I can be a Kareem, okay? But right now I feel a little limited, you know? Because if I'm at line at the bank and the line's too long, and just like anybody else, I get angry at the line being too long, you know? Just like we all do. I can't show it. Because if I show it, I'm like, fuck this place, man. Fuck this place, man. Fuck this place. Somebody's gonna see like, oh. If you see something, say something. Hey, I see the terrorist coming. He probably wants to blow himself up and blow this whole place up. And it's like, I do, but I'm not going to, okay? I just have the thought like a normal human being does. What normal human being doesn't want to blow themselves up at the bank, okay? It's a normal human emotion and I'm allowed to have it. Okay? It's messed up because this trope makes it seem like we are angrier than other people, okay? We are not angrier than other people, man. We just have weird shaped eyebrows, so it reads a little differently, okay? That's all it is. It's eyebrowism. It is. Isn't that messed up? How much eyebrows relate to terrorism? Look at Luigi. Look at those eyebrows. Look at those eyebrows. Isn't that messed up? The difference between a terrorist and just an angry guy is plucking. It's so messed up. We gotta pluck and wax our way out of this, is what we gotta do. I hope you do understand why the word terrorist is racist. And people try to flip it. They'll be like, how come every time there's a terrorist, it's a Muslim? Because you fucking call them that, motherfucker. You're the fucking one out there perpetuating that. So really, we have two options at this point to make the word unracist. We can either call everyone a terrorist equally, anybody who does a violent act, and you're a terrorist, 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 you know? And if that doesn't work, jihad. But I'm kidding. There's one more option before that. The other option, which I like and I think we could try, is we take the word terrorist back and make it cool. Who's with me, kids? Come on. Yeah. Where my terrorists at? Come on. Where my terrorists at? Yeah. Good. I love that's the sound. That's the call of the wild right there. Yeah. I can sense there's people skeptical. They're like, this is not gonna work. Listen, let's take notes, okay? Let's take notes. Black people did it with the N-word. They made it work, okay? Yeah. Oh, uncomfortable white crowd. I see. Oh, yeah. It's true. They made it work. They took the word back. They made it work. We might have to cut off the hard T at the end, okay? Take notes, right? Like, what's up, my terrorists? You know, does that make it? My terrorist. Terrorist, please. You know what I mean? Like, we can make rap songs like Terrorists in Paris. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that one's too real. I'm sorry. That was too real. Okay. Right? Or if you don't like that, we can make it more like a record scratch, like terror, error. Or, you know, Gen Z will come through, like, I got killer charisma, it's terroriz. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we got options. And if those don't work, jihad. But we got options. But yes, so the word terrorist is hypocritical, it's racist, but that's not even my biggest problem with the word terrorist. My biggest problem with the word terrorist is that it is too often used by the Western world to excuse the killing of civilians. I want you to become aware of this. Look at the war on terror. What was that in effect, right? And it's not over. It's still going on right now. You know, Israel does this on a daily basis. Like, Israel will level an entire apartment complex. And we'll all see it. It's not like we don't see this. We all see the video footage. We'll see them level an entire apartment complex, killing families, like verified and reported, well, not reported, but verified civilian families. And we'll all see it. And every human being, doesn't matter what your politics are, you all have the same gut reaction, like, what the f***? You cannot be a human being and see that and not be like, what the f***? Right? All Israel has to do at that point is just be like, oh no, we were targeting the terrorists. They always say it like a toddler for some reason. Like, the terrorists. The terrorists were in there. Mom, the terrorists. We were getting the terrorists. Mom, the terrorists. And it's like, no, you did not get the terrorists, okay? You did not get the widow wabbit, the terrorists. You killed civilians, okay? You killed civilians. You killed children, dude. You killed children. And yeah, I don't like children that much either, but you can't fucking do that, man. Yes, kids can like make a mess sometimes. They can be little terrorists. They can like knock over things, come into a room and just mess it up. Especially the 2-year-olds, the terrorist 2s. I understand. Kids can be little terrorists, okay? But these little terrorists deserve to live, man, okay? And I know people get uptight when I talk about this stuff. Like, oh, you're just gonna make jokes about terrorism? You're just gonna make jokes about bombs and people dying? Like, yeah, the f*** I am, dude. The f*** I am. You think I'm just gonna see this shit and not talk about it? It is not normal. We cannot just continue to let this shit happen. It is not normal. We have to talk about it. And you know what? I'm gonna make jokes about it. I'm gonna make jokes specifically. You wanna know why I'm gonna make jokes? Because jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance. Did you know that? Jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance. And you know who said that? I did right now. I said it right now. Jokes are the #1 form of nonviolent resistance. They're right up there with water balloons, you know?